Hey guys, it's Thursday and we are making something really good for our sweet video this week. This is Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte, which is the most sort of iconic German dessert and German torte that there is. It is also known as Black Forest cake here in the United States. This is from Classic German Baking by Luisa Weiss. And we're going to go ahead and just jump right in. I think you're really going to love this. Essentially, it's a chocolate cake with whipped cream frosting and a cherry filling. If you've never had it before, definitely make this cake, and this is a really good recipe for it. So, all right, we've got 6 eggs that we've separated into whites and yolks, and we're gonna go ahead and just put the whites in a stand mixing bowl. And we'll go ahead and put in about a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt as well, and fit it with the whisk attachment. And we're going to beat these eggs until they get stiff peaks. We are also, as this beats, I'm going to slowly dribble in a 3/4 cup of just granulated sugar plus 1 tablespoon. And you want this to beat until it gets entirely, all the sugar gets dissolved and it's not grainy, and I will show you what that looks like. All right, this is the consistency we want to go for. You can see how glossy that is and how much it's doubled in volume, and you can see how it's stiff peaks, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to add these yolks one at a time to this mixture, and we're just going to mix them on low until they fully incorporate before you add the next yolk. So 1 yolk at a time, mix them on low until they're fully incorporated. This is what you want the final batter to look like coming out of the stand mixer. At this point, we don't want to mix it anymore other than gently with a spatula. So I've sifted our cocoa powder, cornstarch, and cake flour into this and then mixed it all up. And then that's just going to go in. And then just gently with a spatula, we will mix this up until you don't see any more streaks and the batter is fully incorporated. All right, this is what your batter should look like. I poured it into a 9-inch springform pan that's lined with a pan liner on the bottom. This is going to go in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. And then we're going to take it out, and do not remove it from the pan yet. Let it sit for 30 minutes to cool down before you run a knife around the edges and open up the spring. Now we're going to make our sour cherry filling, which is critical to make an authentic Black Forest cake. These are Morello sour cherries here. They're pitted, so we need the juice and the cherries. We're going to drain these and strain the cherries from the juice. And you want to reserve probably about 12 to 15, depending on how many slices of your cake you want to cut, for the top of your cake. And so I'm going to put those over here, and this is going to go to the stove. One more quick thing before the stove. Put about 2 tablespoons of the juice in a separate container here. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch and just mix it together to make a cornstarch juice slurry. We've brought the juice to a boil, so now we're ready to go ahead and reintroduce the rest of the cherries, and we're going to get that to a boil again. The juice and cherries are back to a boil, so now we're going to go ahead and put in our cornstarch mixture, and immediately you want to start whisking that together so that the sauce will thicken. To frost the cake, we're just going to make a basic whipped cream. So there's 3 cups of heavy cream in there, and now we're just going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar to stabilize it and to make it sweet. And now we're just going to use our whisk attachment and whisk it until it gets firm peaks. All right, here is our cooled down cake. Now, whenever you're making these sorts of like layered cakes and fancier cakes, you always need to make sure you make time for it. Time is going to make sure you have a perfect cake. In this case, it's not time actively cooking, but it's time letting these things cool down and or refrigerate or do all sorts of stuff like that. So now we're ready to cut this, and we're going to cut this into 3 layers using our bread knife. All right, so we've got our 3 cake layers here, and I've got one on a cake board and then on a cake table so I can spin it easily. This is Kirschwasser, or Kirsch as it's called in a lot of cookbooks. You can get this at most liquor stores. It's a cherry brandy, but it's used in a lot of European cakes. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, for each layer, so we're going to do this 3 times here, or 2 times, and then the top will just have frosting without the cherry filling. But so just get a little and just sort of sprinkle it on throughout the cake layer to get it wet. Okay, now, once we've done that, we've got a piping bag full of our whipped cream, and we're going to make 3 rings. And it doesn't really have to be super all together, because this is all going to go on the inside of the cake, and we're going to smooth out the sides after we're done as well. And the reason that we're doing it like this is because the next thing we're going to do is get our cherry filling here, and we're going to fill those rings with this cherry filling, like so. And then we'll put the next layer on top, and we'll repeat the process each time. Frosted the top and the sides after adding all the layers. If you're unfamiliar on how to do that, there's tons of YouTube videos out there. I just used a pastry cutter to make the sides nice and square there. We're going to do one more thing before we finish garnishing the cake. We're going to just put some whipped cream rosettes. All right, I finished adding all of the little spirals on the top of the cake. Now, before we do anything else, we're going to go ahead and take this cake and put it in the refrigerator and let this frosting and everything on the inside of the cake chill and come together. And then we'll finish up with the last bit of garnish. While the cake is chilling, we're going to make our garnish. I've got some German dark chocolate and a hand grater, and I'm just going to grate these to make some chocolate flakes that are going to go on the cake. You can see I added some whole sour cherries to the top of our chilled cake. And now we're going to take these chocolate shavings, and this is going to be a little messy, so but we're going to put these along the side of the cake. So you just get these in your hand like this, and you just press it into the side of the cake, and it's going to drop off the sides, and that's totally fine. Just do this all the way around until the side is completely covered in chocolate shavings, and I will show you what that looks like. I have finished garnishing the sides with dark chocolate. You can see how beautiful this cake looks, and we're actually going to go ahead and cut a slice here together right now. So fingers crossed that I don't mess this up. All right, look at that. Let me get this down on the plate here. Look at that, guys. Look at how good that came out. You can see the layers, alternating layers from the inside there of our whipped cream and cherry filling. Chocolate cake is nice and moist from the kirsch that we put in there. And yeah, so this is really good. This is one of my absolute favorite cakes to make. So if you're a cake lover, if you like chocolate, if you like European cakes, torts, definitely do that. We're going to put a little bit of mint here because chocolate and mint is a classic combination, and it also makes it look a little fancy. So yeah, I'm gonna go enjoy this, enjoy it with my family for dinner tonight. If you enjoy my videos, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next one.